So my name is Jennifer Lizardi, and I have been a social worker for about 2 years now. I've been doing stress management support groups for about a year, and it's something that I really enjoy doing because everybody experiences stress, and it's good to have some ways to de-stress so that your body isn't so tense all the time, so you're not upset. And let's see what we can do today, guys. So I'm gonna have you guys introduce yourself, give a brief explanation about why you guys are here and what you hope to get out of this group today.
Okay, so hello, my name is Cassie. I'm here today because I do suffer from a lot of stress. I have a very high stress job. I'm constantly traveling up and down the valley, and I do have a lot of road rage because it seems like nobody knows how to drive. I have lots of deadlines that I feel like I can just never keep up with. I take a lot of work home with me, and when I go home, then it's like I have to cook and clean for my family. I also seem to get emails all hours of the night, which doesn't really let me sleep at night. I'm constantly thinking and worrying about things I really can't control at that time. I also have to take care of my elderly grandmother who needs a lot of help, and that can really be worrisome and tiresome, and taking her to doctor's appointments, cooking and cleaning after her. So I'm really here today because I want to learn how to de-stress, unwind a little bit, kind of enjoy my family when I'm away from work, because I do love my job. I just want to learn how to separate the two.
Right. Okay.
So,
well, thank you. Yes.
Hello, my name is Belinda Lizardi, and I am here today because I'm going through a lot right now. I take care of my mother who has dementia, and it's a full-time job. And recently my son got very sick on us, and so I have to take care of him also, who is still in a facility. So I have to take care of my mother, and then rush and take care of him. And then just recently my father also got ill and was in the hospital. And so that added to my stress or my load.
Right.
And I still have to come home and deal with my husband and take care of him and wash and clean and make sure my mom is okay. And one of the reasons I'm here is just, I guess, to maybe some ways to let go, or, maybe just talking about it will help me. And it's just been a rough time.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Valerie Camargo, and I am a 4th grade teacher. Well, I was a 4th grade teacher, but I was really stressed out and I quit my job, actually. Being a teacher is a lot of demand on you. People are always asking you for things all the time, and I had 60 kids actually in 3 rotations, and that was a lot of work. There's lots of emails also with that, and I had trouble sleeping. I couldn't sleep through the night usually, so just want to learn, I guess, how to deal with people, because I love working with kids and I started hating it. So I just want to learn, I guess, how to deal with people and not feel bad for taking time to myself, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Ana Guzman, and I am here for the same reason all of you guys are. We all have separate or different ways of stressing, and my way of stressing is, I guess, right now it's school. Right now I'm having a really hard time, I guess, knowing or wanting something. I don't know what educational way to go in life. Right now I have a certain degree in mind, but I'm having a really hard time with math, which is my stress right now. Math is really hard for me. So that's one of my big things right now. I am also a mother of a teenage boy. Thankfully, I don't have problems with him. He's a good young kid, but still the stress of having to be a good mother, giving him a good example, and me being at the point right now of not knowing what I want in life from school is stressing me out, because he's at a point where he's already graduating from high school and has to go to college, and I feel like I'm not giving him a good example and okay, continue, and I don't want it to get to the point where he questions me on, well, why aren't you continuing, or why aren't you done, and that's a big stress for me. Also, I'm the oldest of all my brothers, and I'm the only girl, and I'm the oldest, and I feel like the majority of the time they lean on me for solutions or answers when they can't, especially since they don't speak the English language, and it stresses me out a bit, because I feel like sometimes I can make the wrong choices for them, or thankfully I haven't at this point, but I don't want to get to that point where like I make the wrong choice, we should have gone this route or whatnot, and hopefully out of this there's ways I can deal with stress, but maybe there's other ways or techniques that I can learn from this group and trying to deal with that. So I'm excited for this.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad that you all are here today and took that first step in trying to find some strategies on how to de-stress yourself. So I'm going to hand out some handouts. There are a couple of papers in here. There are some educational readings. There's some activities that we're going to do today. So we're going to start off with a stress fact sheet. And I'm not going to go over everything because this is for you guys to take home and to read for yourselves, but I am going to, read some of the key highlights, and we can talk about, if you guys are experiencing any of these things or how you guys feel about this, okay? So the first one is that stress is normal. I know a lot of people feel like, oh my goodness, this isn't right, but it's completely normal, and it's your body's way of telling you that there are too many demands in your life. Even just imagining something in your head, a situation, can cause you to react and be stressed. Not everybody reacts the same to stress. A situation that can be stressful on one person isn't always stressful on the next person. And stress can occur when something happens that we feel it imposes a demand on us, right? Because then we feel like, oh no, I have to do this. But stress is also good. We need a certain amount of stress in our lives because it's stimulating and motivating, and that can help us, achieve our goals and get to where we need to be. So stress actually begins in our brains, and then it expands out into our bodies. Some people feel it in their necks and their backs in different ways. And there are also these are some possible symptoms of stress. So there are mental symptoms like forgetfulness, nervousness, confusion. Physical symptoms, tension, fatigue, insomnia. Emotional symptoms, anxiety, mood swings. Does anybody here also have a lot of anxiety maybe?
Yes.
I know that can cause also a lot of stress. And also spiritual symptoms, feeling like you have no hope, like you've lost direction. There's no, meaning to your life. So that can also be something. It says that 75 to 90% of all medical office visits are for something stress related. So, that's a lot. That just shows you that you guys are not alone in this, and that a lot of people are, experiencing the same things that you guys are. And it's actually one of the 6 leading causes to death in America is being stressed. So, it's good that you guys are here and trying to, find ways to not be so stressed in your life. And then on the bottom, the next page, and so there's also some techniques that you can do. There's exercising, learning to relax your mind. So those are some of the things that you can take home with you, and incorporate them into your everyday schedules in life so that you can, don't always feel so stressful. So, how do you guys feel? Do you feel that you could possibly maybe get sick from being stressed?
Yes.
Yes.
I actually get when I'm overly stressed, I get really bad migraines.
Yes.
and it can last up to 2 or 3 days, and it's so painful.
Mhm.
It's really, really painful. So that's one of the things that I tend to get when I'm overly stressed.
Right.
That's my main thing.
Anybody else?
I actually suffer from anxiety, so stress is always kind of present for me.
Right.
But anxiety is something that, I'm stressing about something that doesn't exist or isn't there. So that's really difficult for me. Some of the things that I've found that really do help is exercising. That's helped me just
Yeah.
kind of forget what I'm thinking about or it's something. But yeah, definitely anxiety is a big part of my life.
Okay. Well, if you guys will turn to the page that says stress triggers. We're going to talk about, some things that can trigger stress to occur and what can trigger you all. So that way you guys know, what exactly are the things, because sometimes you could think, oh, well, it's work. But really, in reality, it's also other things that are happening in your life. So, there's a list right here. Do you guys see any that you guys experience?
I see a few, like financial obligations, being a caregiver to a family member, something that you deal with.
Yes, I noticed that was something you guys share. So do you guys feel like maybe you guys have burnout, or is there something that you guys do to relieve yourself from any of that?
I think it's kind of a vicious cycle because, of course, I have burnout, and my stress reliever is to go out and have a good time with friends. But then the next day, I may feel guilty for overindulging, maybe having one too many drinks, too much food, feeling kind of gross about myself. So then that kind of triggers a whole new thing for me.
I listen to Christian music that seems to calm me down. I do a lot of praying, a lot, and I do like to walk. That helps me. Right now I don't have the time.
Okay. Yeah. And how about over here? I know you said you were having a lot of stress with school and education, right? And Valerie was a teacher. So, how did you decide to be an educator? When you were still in school, is there anything that you can think of that could maybe help Anna decide in her?
I think I really liked helping people. So I thought I wanted to do something where I helped everyone, but I figured out that sometimes it gets a little hard when you have 60 other people that have expectations on you. But I think whatever you really, really like, you should go in that direction. I figured out now, I think I like more like history, or I love to dance also. Yeah. So I'm trying to move more towards those routes. I can still be a teacher, but not in something that I'm unhappy with. Maybe I'll be a dance teacher, maybe I'll be a history teacher instead of being a Common Core elementary school teacher. I think that was a little hard. So, maybe to just really pick something that you really like, I think because then it's still work, but you're enjoying it too. So, and then when recently, since I quit my job, I've downloaded like Headspace apps. They're like meditation apps, so it's like a guided meditation to help you whenever you're just feeling crazy. You can do it for a minute, you can do it for 10 minutes, and that's really nice to listen to also. This helps you de-stress.
That sounds good.
Yes, they're nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So the stress also affects everybody differently. And here are a list of different ways that stress can affect somebody. There's headaches, fatigue, irritability, depression, high blood pressure. Do you see any of these that affect you?
Yes.
Does anybody want to share a particular one that maybe?
Well, I know last year when I was teaching 4th grade, I had horrible acne all over my face, and I was like, what is going on with this? That one was really bad. And difficulty sleeping for sure. I would wake up like right before I knew my alarm was gonna go off, like at 5:59 instead of 6, and just my eyes were wide awake. And I used to have trouble waking up before. I now want to stay in and sleep more, but I just used to wake up right before my alarm all the time. So
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, because I feel that acne is a big one that people don't realize that it's because of stress. They could think like, oh, it's because of what I'm eating or something.
Yeah.
But really, if you're stressed, it can cause your body to get out of balance, and your hormones produce more acne causing.
Yeah, that one was bad.
Yeah. Anybody else want to share?
I definitely struggle with my weight because I want to, I've had a stressful day, so my reward is a brownie or something like that. So then it's
I'm guilty of the same thing.
Yes. So that's a struggle for me.
My blood pressure goes up, and I try not to think about it, but your body just reacts to what you're going through.
Yeah.
I've had a few, almost all of them, but I know a big one is depression. In the past, I know I suffered like really big depression. Now that I'm older, I realize that, depression still exists, but it's very important for us to have a really good friend or have someone that you really trust in and vent out with your problems or what stresses you out, because sometimes we feel it's not that big of a deal, or if we tell this other person, they're gonna think we're crazy, or it's not a big thing. Like, why are you even stressing about it? But you venting out with the other person, and that other person, is gonna make you feel good. It's gonna make you feel, it's all right. You're okay. Like you're gonna get through this, and just motivating you to actually, keep your head up, and if this too is gonna pass, right? So, I think depression is. I think as long as you have someone there for you, you'll realize that at the end of the day, once it all passes, you're gonna say this was nothing.
Having a good support group can really help you. Okay, guys, if you go to the page before, there's an evaluation form. Okay, I don't want you to fill it out yet, but I want you to read the questions, have them in your mind, and then we're going to go over a little activity that's going to give us a plan, so that when we are stressed or going through a stressful situation, that we can have a better understanding of how we're going to react. Okay, so go over those questions, give you a couple of seconds, a minute, and then we'll do the activity. Okay. Okay, so if you'll go to 2 pages down, you'll see a page with some boxes, some squares, and it says situation. Okay, so you don't have to do all of them, but maybe pick 1 or 2. There's some different situations. You're already busy at work, and your boss gives you something else to work on. How would you react today? Not knowing any of the things that we've talked about. And how are you going to react in the future? You're stuck in traffic and cars won't let you merge into the next lane. You need to be into exit. How would you react today, and how are you going to react in the future? You get home after a long day and dinner has not been started, the house is dirty, and clothes need to be washed. And the same thing, how would you react today, and how are you going to react in the future? And I also gave you some examples on the bottom. Feel free to use those, or if you have your own plan in mind, go ahead and put that also. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that. Okay, so that's that's a good amount of time. If you're not done, don't worry about it. This, like I said, you're gonna take these home, so it's something that you can always think about in the future. Having a strategy will help you, so that way you know exactly what to do when you feel stressed. Does anybody want to share, Cassie?
The one about work, of course, if my boss asked me to do something, I'd probably just do it without complaining, get it done. I'd probably be really upset about it because there's a lot on my plate. But I think in the future, being open and honest and asking for help, letting
Yes.
my boss know, I know you're asking me this, but I really have a lot on my plate right now. Can we delegate this to someone else? Would maybe open her eyes and tell her, oh, you know what, you're right. I didn't even think about that. She may not be aware of what I'm doing, or trying to get accomplished. So that was one. I also did the stuck in traffic. So of course, if I'm stuck in traffic, I'd probably yell or use some colorful language.
I wrote the same thing.
Start honking.
But I think, I travel a lot up and down the valley for work. So probably just anticipate delays. I mean, there's always accidents, things like that. So I'm probably getting upset because they won't let me in because I know I'm going to be late for a meeting. Well, maybe if I had left 30 minutes earlier, I wouldn't be as stressed out and be able to take my time and not be so worried.
Yeah, it's also important to remember, not to get upset about things that you have no control over. What's going to happen if you take the next exit and just do the turnaround? Nothing. You're still going to get to where you're going. So it's important to, to keep that in mind. Belinda, do you want to share anything that you wrote?
Well, on that one about the traffic, I would start praying. I know I would. Dear Lord, please let me in.
Prayer works.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Oh, the one about the house being dirty. And,
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I probably just not do it and watch TV and then order food, but then I'd feel guilty about it, and then that leaves more work for the next day. So
Right.
probably just take 30 minutes to myself and start the housework. Give myself a time. After 30 minutes, maybe watch one show, then I can start everything.
Okay, yeah.
I actually chose the same one, the house one.
Okay.
I would, if I think about it right now, if I were to get home right now, I'd probably be really upset. I'd pick up a fight with my boyfriend. I cry because when I'm angry, I cry, and I don't tend to talk to him. I just cry and keep the silent treatment. But I know that's not going to solve anything, and that's not going to get the house clean. So in the future, I would, take deep breaths, maybe listen to spiritual music or something,
Yes.
and talk to him in peace, and let him know how I feel. It would help a lot if he would help out as well at the house, and it'd be much appreciated.
Yeah, good.
I like that. That's
Yeah. Okay, guys, so we have a couple minutes left. So I'm going to go over what we learned today, and I'm going to have you guys also, say anything that you want to say, how you think it went. So, I'm glad that you guys came. Now we know what stress is. We know that it affects everybody differently. I was able to list some triggers for you all and some symptoms that it shows, because you don't always realize, I have a headache, is it stress, We made a plan, you guys strategized, and so now when you become stressed, you have a better sense of what things that you can do. How do you guys feel? Do you feel that you learned anything today? Do you feel like you have a better understanding of stress and how to manage it?
Absolutely. I think that it's important to remember that everybody suffers from stress,
Yes.
and to not feel alone, and to ask for help, and to reach out to others, because they're all probably everyone's going through a little bit of stress at some point
Yes.
in their day.
Yes.
I think communication is important. We all talked about, talking it out instead of just shutting down.
Yeah, and asking for help.
Asking for help,
Yes.
yeah.
Sometimes it's very hard to ask because I was raised where you don't really show your feelings and what's going on in your family. You don't discuss.
Right.
But I've learned through actually the years where, like you said, if you can just find one person that you can talk to, and just because you need to let it out. If not, it's like a boiling pot that's gonna at one point boil over. And it's always good to have someone that you can talk to.
Yeah, and definitely having groups like this, because I know, I mean, I don't know here in the valley, but I don't think I've heard much of groups like this. But having, even if it's not like a professional certified group, but having even like in a home, where the people you confide in and trust in, and letting it, like having that communication, letting it out, and it definitely does help. So I would definitely keep coming to these groups.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming. You know, it's like I said, these are for you guys. You take them home. You know, you can refer to them anytime that you guys feel stressed. You know, always be thinking of, you know, new ways to relieve some of your stress. There are some brownies and waters right there in the back. So once you guys are done filling out your evaluation form, you guys feel free to go ahead and, you know, eat some brownies or leave if you guys want to. Okay.
Do we need to turn
Thank you.
this sheet in?
Yeah, just you can just leave them right here on the table once you're done with that.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.